Hey there, this is the Animal Intuitive Show. This is Angelo Webb, the Animal Intuitive, and thank you for being here tonight. We are going to be talking to some animals this evening, so if you're watching and you have an animal that you would like me to talk with, just stay tuned. I'm gonna be doing that soon. And also, I have a little bit of a topic prepared if we have time for it, so I hope that you can stick around for the rest of the night. Come on, all you doggies, won't you walk with me? I'm the puppet dog. So this is the Animal Intuitive Show, and on this channel, I am an animal communicator, so we talk about all things having to do with animal communication. I also interview people who are experts in the fields of animal care and advocacy, and we also talk about natural pet care. So if you have an animal and you're watching, I'm just going to check the chat here and see who is here. Where is my chat? Okay, interview on. Da, 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 da. Okay, hi A for advocate. Oh, good. So you have a bunny. Awesome. Okay, so it seems like you can hear me. I forgot to ask that question, but you wouldn't be saying that if you couldn't hear me. But let me know if for some reason you can't hear me. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is pass you along a link. And that link you can use. Now, if you can have your bunny on camera, that's awesome. What you're going to do is when you use this link, you're going to, oh good, my computer's dying. Of course. Hold on one second. Yes. This is the show where there has to be something that just has to go wrong every night, but that was a minor thing and it didn't go too crazy, so good thing the computer didn't shut down in the middle of the show. Okay. Hi, Dave G. Good, thank you so much for confirming that you can hear me. That's great. Alrighty, so you got the link. So when you hit that, when you click on that link, you're gonna be on camera unless you don't want to be on camera. So if you have the bunny and you can put the camera on the bunny, that's awesome too, because I'm sure people would love to see the bunny. And I'm sure she'll be calling in just a second. And if you don't know what animal communication is being able to understand what an animal is thinking and feeling, and then also we are communicating information to that animal at the same time. So when I communicate with an animal, like I'm going to be talking to A for Advocate's bunny, she will possibly already know a lot of the things that I'm going to be telling. So the bunny will already possibly be knowing what she wants me to tell her, because animals understand a lot of what's going on in their homes. A lot of times it's more than people would imagine. It's kind of surprising to people a lot of times. So we may find that out from the bunny. I think I'm going to say her bunny. I think A for Advocate's a woman, so a female. And just so I know, Dave, do you have an animal when we're done with Bunny, the bunny that you wanted me to talk with too? Just so I can kind of know what to plan for tonight. I see you there, but I don't see. Okay, well, I don't know if you're having any trouble getting in. Let me know, because I don't see you here yet in the guest studio that we have here. So just type here and let me know if you're having an issue. So you can also feel free to ask questions in the chat as we're going along. If you have questions for the bunny, feel free to let me know and I can communicate those questions to Bunny. So other than animal communication, I'm also certified nationally in animal acupressure and massage. And I work with essential oils and I do energy work too. So A for Advocate says, yup, I'm a female. Oh, okay. Her husband is saying to do Bandit the cat. Okay, so that's fine. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Dave, you have a GRT? JRT? With the terrible twos for one more year? What is that? A JRT? Jerk? I don't know what that is. I probably should. I feel really kind of stupid right now. Oh, okay. So, okay. A is doing dishes. That's fine. So, Dave, you want to start? Do you have your JRT, whatever that is, available to use that link that I posted? And if you don't want to be, like, you don't have to be on camera if you don't want to. You can just focus the camera on your animal, and that's fine. Okay, so while I'm waiting for that, I'll just post the link again. Something that I just wanted to talk about, and I feel like I have some kind of a weird delay going on with my with the way I'm speaking and the screen, but that's, again, not a surprise. This is the show where there's, like, I swear, demons that live in YouTube and they just come after my show. Now, that's not a paranoid rant. I'm just saying that weird things happen every show you can watch. Every one of them, weird stuff happens every time. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what animals' perception is of some things that happen commonly with people, which is people just kind of not being very nice to each other. Animals have their own perception of things, even though people may not realize how much that is. They kind of live in their own world, and it isn't until we stop and ask them their opinion about things that we really begin to understand how deep that can really go. So that was something that just was a question of mine that came up, just thinking about what do animals, how do they perceive how sometimes humans treat each other, how sometimes people can be nasty to each other, not be so nice to each other. And it was a question that I wanted to put out to the animals, and I didn't do it ahead of time because this was going to be a live chat show. I didn't know who was going to be on here, so I wanted to do that live. And I am trying to fix this. Maybe there is no delay anymore. But I'm waiting for Dave. If you call in, just do that whenever you're ready. Just call on in if you want, or you'll need to use that link. But while we're waiting for that, I am going to ask, what I wanted to do is actually ask what we call the collective. So the collective would be a group of animals. So for instance, the collective would be like a group of the whole entire species of elephant, or the whole entire species of ants. And I'm kind of wondering if anybody wants to ask me what collective they would like to ask this question to. And it's pretty cool. People don't maybe always, people don't realize until they start learning about this stuff that you can do that. You can pick up information that's out there. And I think that quantum physics is beginning to explain some of these things, but I am not necessarily able to do that in the most scientific way. That's I'll probably mess it up tonight. I don't have that whole thing prepared, and I don't want to tread into those waters and mess it up. But it's kind of like the Matrix, for lack of a better way to put it. And I think that we all are aware that there's something out there where there's synchronicities. There's things that happen where we know that something's going on that maybe we don't always understand it. Just posted you link on my Facebook just now, so hopefully someone will come in chat. Okay, I'm not sure what that means, but you mean the link to talk? Okay, well, we'll see what happens. But so back to what I was saying. So yeah, it's the information that's just, it's out there, and it's available for us to be picking up on this information. And sometimes we see glimpses of it when we don't intend to, but we can tune into it and begin to gather information about things intentionally as well. And so for me, that was a really exciting thing when it came to animals, because it was a way to learn about animals maybe that were in Africa or Asia, so that's pretty exciting. That's one of the things about animal communication. There's, it opens up your mind to possibilities that you might not have realized existed previously. And it's pretty fascinating. So I will talk to the collective of, since nobody has mentioned one, I'm going to do elephant, because I think everyone generally likes elephants. Who doesn't like an elephant? I mean, there's people that are terrible to elephants, but that's a whole nother story. And that is something also that we could talk to them about as well. The whole issue with poaching and things like that. If people have questions for the collective elephant, please do post them here. I certainly can talk to them about that. So I'm just going to tune into that information, and okay, I thought I could actually fix this delay, but it isn't happening. So this will be the weird thing of the night, is my talk delay or whatever's going on. And I always remind people who are watching the replay, you can fast forward. I know that sometimes it's frustrating because I can see where people will just drop off when I start to listen. You can go back and look at analytics. You can see where people just kind of drop off the show. And it's unfortunate because some really cool stuff happens and things come out that are really interesting. And unfortunately, people get, we live in a world where things are people want things immediate. And they miss out because they don't want to sit here and wait while I'm thinking. And I edit that out if I do it ahead of time, but I can't do that when I do it live, or else I'll lose the chat, and I'll lose all views and likes, which, by the way, please like, subscribe. It's the way this show grows, and we're trying to hit 1,000. We're not there yet. The show's been on for a while, so I need your help to do that. So that's kind of my plea to you. The only way you get YouTube to promote your show is to get more likes and views and subscribers, and it's interesting. It kind of works backward. They don't help you get those until you get them. So the more you get, then they start helping you. So it's a very difficult climb to get to that point. And it's odd because they keep playing videos of animal communicators from 8 years ago, 6 years ago, just one video a person did. They don't have a channel. They just put one video out, or they have a channel and that's it. And they play that video. They've got 50 gazillion likes and views, and that's all they ever do. So it doesn't make sense because this is a weekly show. So I really do appreciate your support. Anyway, ask questions once again. If you're coming on here, You can ask questions for Elephant Collective. I'm going to be talking to them while we wait for some people to use the link to come into the studio with their pet at home. And if you had a pet at home you want me to talk to, just let me know. And this is the link. You can put the camera on your animal if you'd like. So elephant, I'm going to ask them just about the human condition and how they perceive the way that human beings treat each other. And again, fast forward if you're watching the replay and you don't want to sit here with me not talking. So the feeling that I get, and animal communication deals a lot with feelings first, is sadness. And I hear the word like peace, not like peace, but peace. You don't understand what you're doing to each other. Oh, thank you, Dave, for sharing the link. Thank you on Facebook. I see this image of them. They're walking in their elephant group. I forget if that's called a herd or what, but they're walking together. And the energy is very organized. It's like we are so in tune with each other. The energy's just moving very easily. Almost like if you're watching water come out of a faucet or a stream, it's like that. That kind of, you can feel the energy just flowing, and it's all in tune, and that's how it feels to me when I tune into them. So I'm asking them, what is it about this that you're trying to tell me when you show me this? Okay, so the word building comes up, like we're building together. Careful, I have to be careful not to assume. So that's why sometimes I'll back up, because you might think, why are they showing me, why they're walking together? Of course, they want to show me unity. The minute I assume what it is, where I go, oh, of course, they want to show me this, you have to back up. And when I backed up, because I did that for a second, what I got was building. And then they say united. So they were just coming around though. So in a sense I was getting that probably intuitively, but I wanted to make sure, and they kind of come around it from that angle, and I'm asking why though building first. What's building unity? Oh, okay. So they're trying to say to me, when I said to them, what do you think of the way that humans treat each other sometimes, and some of the issues that are going on in the world, just the negativity. It's kind of how I presented it to them. I didn't say all that, but telepathically. They're saying that you have to build unity. And they're saying, like us, like we're demonstrating to you, we're trying to show you that. That's our purpose, in part, on this earth, is to demonstrate that. So what's fascinating is that animals show us things on this earth, things we can learn from, just like nature, like is in plants and flowers. They show us different things about growth, growing, dying, the cycles. animals have things that they show us as a collective and as individuals too. And I feel that that's something that these elephants are trying to emphasize, and it's something that is unique to them. And it could be something that is also applies to some other species too, but when I ask the elephants, that's what they're giving me. That they try to demonstrate and be a symbol to humans of how to build unity. But and then it feels like it's not just building unity, it's building. Like if you can build unity, you can build positivity on this earth. And they're saying, watch us. So it doesn't just feel like that's their message. They're saying literally watch the way that we operate to learn. Like maybe watch videos about them if you can't watch them in person, or read about them and the way that they function, the way that they work together to learn. There's something in that that's specific. There's like there's the sort of granular information in addition to the overall message. So it isn't just like the overall message of building unity and all of that. There's actually specific things that they are doing that if you watch them function, you might have little light bulbs that go off that help you to grow and learn about how to build unity and work with other people for good. And so that's the key. It's like this is all part of the whole message that animals are always giving, which is to slow down. That's part of animal communication, is slowing down. You can't really do animal communication if you're going full speed ahead. You have to take the time to slow down, to listen. Just like if we really want to understand others, we have to slow down and listen. So there's something, yeah, they're showing me something with their trunks going into the earth and digging. I don't know all the different things that elephants do. I'm not terribly like studied in them. I admire them and I've watched them and I like them, of course, love them, but I'm just being given these images. Something with their trunks going into the earth, and it's like digging. I suppose it has something to do with them building what they build. Something with mud and but I'm not 100% sure what they're referring to, but that might be something that's needing to be watched, like I mentioned, to learn more about. Yes. You're right, Dave, that is an issue. Humans are too stubborn to slow down and very often listening. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's something that we need to do more of. And so that's what's awesome about animal communication and what animals are trying to teach us. The more we talk about the animal's message, I think, because animals are like a gateway. You know, people can relate sometimes better to animals and will be more open to hearing messages from animals and learning things from animals. Like we've got sometimes like our defenses are up, learning things from other people or listening to others. So that's what's so great about the animals, is that they can get through those walls to give us this information that's so important. They're such blessings. But exactly, we have to be able to get through our own like stubbornness or sometimes to me it's just the willingness that we have, the way that kind of we give in to, this is the way that it is. Like, we have to be looking at our phones 20,000 times a day. We have to be checking. We have to be listening to something, watching something, or doing something all the time. And that there's no value in stopping and taking the time to just sit and be, maybe to walk in nature and just like be open to hearing. We've kind of given into it, and it was a lot easier. I remember when I started as an animal communicator, these like handheld devices, they just weren't they didn't have like all this going on. You couldn't watch YouTube on your phone, and it's basically just, I think, text messages and maybe some images, which I didn't realize. I had a phone for like a few years and didn't understand that I could send images, like pictures. Yeah, that's why I have like, my computer's not charged when I start a show, that kind of thing. It tells you something. So, but yeah, that's exactly, it's been taken away from us, and we have to fight that. We have to be very careful that we don't completely give in to that, because that is, to me, like, I could kind of go off into almost, I could get a little conspiracy theorist about that. But it's almost not important to get down to like who's doing that, if it's being done intentionally, and why. We've got to, maybe it is important, but we've got to fight it. And the animals are trying to tell us that. So yeah, absolutely, Dave. I agree. We got to fight. So any questions for, I wonder if anyone out there in chat has any questions for, I just lost my own picture here. Hold on. I'm going to get confused because I can't see myself. Can't see what's going on the screen, so just one moment. All right, well, it's going to be a mini screen. Are there any questions for the animals, of anybody who's watching? Anything for Elephant or anyone else? And again, if you have an animal that you would like me to talk to, please do let me know, and you can use the link to call in. All right, so let me see what else comes up here. Understanding signals from animals is only just being understood. And it's interesting because I think that it used to be. Oh, good. Thank you. Good. The video and sound is still coming through. Thank you. That's always good. I don't want to speak for other communities, but I believe my understanding from, being around some of these trainings and things through the years, and readings about, just energy work and understanding where animal communication came from and the history of it and things like that, that people who are native to this country did actually understand signals from animals, and they learned a lot from the animals and nature, but it wasn't, it didn't, we can get into a whole other can of worms there about why that went away, or why that wasn't learned by other people who kind of took over this land. And it's so unfortunate and sad, but I think that there's such a connection there with animal communication and learning those lessons. There's actually someone I would advise people to watch, but I can't think of his name. He's a I'll try to figure it out and post it in the description who that is. But he's a Native American um, who's an elder, and he gives information about their teachings. I'm not sure what tribe it is. I can't remember, but he's trying to keep those teachings going and not lost. Would love to have him on the show, but we'll see. And also, I just want to mention too, if you know of anybody that's doing anything really interesting with animals, doing any sort of work that's advocacy work, or helping animals in some way, or veterinarians that are doing things that are interesting or different, I do guest interviews on this show. So I'm just asking if there's anything else that they would like to talk about that I didn't mention about the elephants. I get a very strong, so now I've switched from sadness, which was when I started, to this very powerful, strong message and feeling in my like solar plexus and gut that's like very strong. And they're saying, you have to do this. You have to. If you don't, I mean, they're staying more in the positive, so it's not so much like they don't necessarily go into the if you don't, but that's, they're focusing on, it's like they're saying you've got to get your strength back. People have to fight. That's I mean, that's the word that's coming up a lot, is like, we're going to have to push it. We can't just sit back and let stuff happen. And it feels like this is definitely having to do with the earth and working together to help the earth. There's a concern. There's definitely like and then it does switch to sadness. It's like they're trying to get the message across that this needs to happen, and they're trying to be kind of pushing it and forceful to get heard and make sure that we understand. But then it's like this. I feel this sadness come over me. Like, if we don't do this, like, come on, guys, this is really important. You don't understand like what you're doing or not doing. Anyone in chat have any questions? Oh, there's two. Okay, so there's Dave and Dave. Okay. And Dave G and Dave, the other Dave, did either one of you want to have your animal spoken with tonight? Or, A for Advocate was going to do dishes first. My husband would probably appreciate it if I prioritize that a little bit more too. Interesting, because just as I was like asking that, and I got this flash of elephants and grass, very green grass. Don't stomp on grass. I'm just going to go into that a little bit. Watch. So I'm seeing this like boot come down on the grass, and it's saying, "Watch where you're walking. Watch what you're stepping on." Asking if this is. I'm checking in to see if this is symbolic or not. If it's literal. It feels what they're what they're saying to me is yeah, you that we need to be more mindful of what we're doing to the earth. We can't just be like taking it for granted and just mindlessly boom, 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 like walking on grass. Okay. Yeah, my dogs grab the grass whenever they can too. Well, not whenever they can, but they do it a lot. I'm not sure what that means, Archimedes girl. So when I tune in a little bit more into grass and what they're talking about, it's definitely like they're definitely referring to, in general, like we talked about before, we're talking about just the earth and working together to not destroy it, essentially. But I'm tuning into just the grass itself, and if they're talking about the grass energy, and I get this spark. I feel like because you can tune into nature, you can tune into trees and grass and just feel their energy, ocean, water, things like that, sun, and yeah, there's a lot of for profit, for sure, exploiting the earth. But when I tune into the energy of grass, it's like interesting because I feel it here now in my heart, and it's like they're saying you can heal. You can connect with grass, and it's interesting because the color associated with the heart chakra, the heart energy, is green. We tend to think that it is like pink or red, but it's actually green, and not not that you can't still connect with that color with the heart. It's just that traditionally the chakra is green. And it's interesting because that's where I'm feeling it right here in my heart. And it feels extremely healing. And I don't know if those of you out there have heard of like earthing, where it's incredibly grounding and nourishing to walk around in the earth without shoes on and just kind of take in that energy and connect with the earth, and how healing that can be, and how we just get like so in our heads, and going and doing that can help just like bring you down and get you in your body connected with nature, and then, you know, therefore help you to connect with other people, other beings, animals, people. So that's really where it's gone for me, this whole connection with these elephants, is they're talking about when we do that, when we're like just mindlessly walking on grass and not thinking, and, you know, destroying it, taking it for granted, we're ignoring the fact that we can, that grass is a healer, and it can heal our hearts. It can heal humans and animals too. What a gift they give. What an amazing amount of information and willingness to help us understand that the elephants are providing us here tonight. I feel very grateful that they're willing to do that for us. Okay, so I'm just asking them, is there anything else that, besides what we've talked about? Okay, so I hear the word seeing, and I asked them what that meant, seeing, and it feels very much like they're talking about the fact that we, in doing these things, in grounding, connecting with others, and taking the time, that we begin to see others, whereas before we may not. We may miss a lot of things. We begin to see others, humans and animals, nature, and otherwise we miss stuff. Okay, well, I am wondering if anybody now is ready to come on. Is A for advocate there by any chance? Or, oh, okay, I see, Dave. You said I do, but she's good. Okay, you didn't necessarily want to talk to JR. What is JRT? Can you, oh, Jack Russell Terrier. I'm sorry. it just came to me. That's what you're talking about. You have a Jack Russell Terrier. Okay. Terrible twos for one more year. Ah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, they have a lot going on. They're pretty, you have to be putting forth a lot of energy with a Jack Russell, definitely. I'm sorry, I don't know why I missed that, why that didn't come to me when you said it. But, also I kind of like brushed past that, what you said there, Dave, that talking of grass, my pup munches. That is interesting because, we're talking about the fact that we can heal from the grass, we can ground with the grass, and animals will go out there and roll in it, right? I kind of brushed over this. I can't believe I did that. But, my dogs will go out there, especially one of them. She's kind of an anxious dog, my dog Cheyenne. And she will roll around in the grass like a lot of dogs will do. And my feeling always is that she's trying to release a lot of like pent up energy. She's a dog that needs a lot of like movement. She'd love to be walked for like an hour, twice a day probably. She's kind of like your Jack Russell probably too. And she needs to release that energy. So if she's inside for a long time, she wants to go outside and roll around in it. And she's showing me, right? She's teaching me a lesson. Like, look, Mom, this is something you could do too. I, don't have my own backyard, so it might be a little odd for me to go out in the backyard. And I mean, the back area here in this place that I have area that's connected to other people and roll around. Unfortunately for me, I can't really, that would be sort of strange. And it's kind of sad because I would love to do that. I'd love to just go around there and roll around. But, I'd be that woman, which I should just be used to because I talk to animals and I should just not worry about it because that's what I do and that's kind of my life is being the weirdo. But, we're going to change that, right? We're going to talk about these things and help people understand. And by the way, I'm going to be teaching a class with children. It's a distance camp. And it's Jaguar Spirit Camp, and they do classes for children to teach them from a young age about all these things. And so about tuning into the earth, about connecting with Mother Nature, connecting with animals. So I'm going to be teaching them about animal communication. And it's actually it was the top requested teacher for this summer. So that tells us something, that there's something going on where people are beginning to want something more and they're starting to pick up something. And maybe that's something to do with this, as we evolve, as things change and people get fed up with having like all this stuff shoved down our throats and this, constant like Wi-Fi and everything, and we're just, I think there's a tipping point, right, where people are going to say enough is enough, and I'm going to take back my life in a sense. So I'm wondering what people think about that, if anybody is feeling that way in the chat. Do you guys feel that way, that you want to kind of take back or go that route, that you're sick of this, kind of all this Wi-Fi and the electronics and things coming at you and the expectation, like in work situations, that you're just constantly on computers like all the time? For many years before I was an animal communicator, I did work with people, but it was still, I'm a licensed clinical social worker, but so I had that like human interaction, but there was a ton of computer work. And then I ended up doing that work for a major insurance company. I went to the dark side, and it was just, I was on the computer the whole day. That's all I did. And it was not healthy. It's not healthy. It's not a good energy to be constantly in front of the computer. And it's, I'm not putting anyone down. We have to make a living. But just be mindful that you got to find ways to disconnect from that and recuperate almost, if that's what you're always having to do. You do want to do something like this. Connect with animals. Go out in nature. Ground yourself. Roll in the grass. If you have your own backyard, you're really lucky. You can do that. We're going to get out of Jersey as soon as possible, and we're going to go somewhere where we can hopefully have some grass. I mean, you can have grass. You can have a backyard in Jersey, but we don't want to stay here, so we don't want to do that. We don't want to put down more roots here. So, I want to ask one more before I hang up, because no one's come back to do questions live, unfortunately. So I'm just gonna put out one more feeler for the elephants and see if there's anything else, because I always do like to finish off and thank any animal that I'm speaking with and see if there's any other messages, if there's anything they want to close with. So I'm going to let them know specifically. I'm talking to people who are interested in animal communication. Is there anything specific to that they would mind talking about or would like to talk about and share? I get this happy feeling in my heart. It's like tickle, like they're tickled that people are doing this. It makes them so happy. Just thrilled, laughing, like this is so great that people want to do this. They think it's wonderful. So they really appreciate it, and they're, to say the least, behind it, and wanting people to do more of it is a very strong feeling. They want to teach. They have a lot to teach. They're absolutely willing to teach. So that's pretty cool, right? If you want to talk to animals, including elephants, you can. And they're more than willing to do it. You don't have to be with them, as I'm demonstrating tonight. I have people I talk with in other countries. And they want us to do, they're telling me that they are part of the solution for the disunity on this earth, and that by doing this, they absolutely feel like they can be a part of helping us to heal on this earth. There's some elephants. Whoop. I was trying to click that in before because I have there they are. I'll move over here and give them. Should have done that a lot sooner, right? I'll get my act together one day. Maybe I'll get an assistant one day. That's like a dream. A dream of an assistant. One day. But they want to teach us. They want to do this more. They want to communicate. So absolutely. And they call it a wave. It's interesting because they're showing it to me like a wave that is very easy and flowing, like I was kind of talking about before with water running smoothly. It's just, they're just saying it's like, they're showing me like, it's not that hard to really conceptualize. It's just energy. Just think about it in those terms. If you're skeptical or confused about it, there's a great book by Amelia Kincaid, And she's actually the first person I ever took an animal communication course with. I told this story a million times, but my mother was invited to an animal communication course in New Hampshire by someone who also kind of became an animal communicator along with me at the same time. We sort of came up at the same time. And she invited my mother to this course, and my mother invited me to the course. And when my mother invited me, it was like a light bulb went off. I was like, oh, I already do that. I just had never called it that. It just, I don't know. I've just been doing it ever since I was a kid. I remember communicating with my cat Dolly, but I understood what she was feeling, and I knew what she was thinking, and it happened as I went on in life. And then it kind of, I'm not going to say it went away, it didn't, but I was distracted a lot, like when I went to college and things like that. You're not even around animals that much, when I went to college. So I had to get back to it, and I think that's what a lot of us are doing, because when you're a kid, I think you more have that ability, it's there in the front, and then it's not a lot of times something that people are taught, or that the people that raise them are making them aware of, so it gets kind of like suppressed. So I think everyone has the ability to do this. I find that often when I'm teaching that everyone I've taught has had an experience, at least one experience, that we can help them remember where they have communicated with animals. They just didn't realize what they were doing. So that is my question for you. I have lipstick on my finger. I'm telling you, this is... My husband, if he's watching, is laughing because this is the story of my life. Hold on. My question for you is, first of all, if you want to put in the comments, if you have a question for Elephant Collective, put it there and I'll answer it for you. If they'll, whatever they give me, I will put that question to them. And also I'm putting to you the question, think about a time when you really felt connected to an animal and you felt that animal understood you, or you understood that animal, and it was on a very deep level. And share it with us. We'd love to hear it in the comments. I love that stuff. So I'd love to hear from you, any experience like that. A lot of times when we think about it, we'll come to realize that things have happened that we thought were just like coincidence or observation, as opposed to actual animal communication. And then when we slow down and we go back in time and we think about it, we're like, no, how did I know that? And those connections, you start realizing, you make those connections, you start realizing that you have actually communicated with animals before. And it's really exciting and really cool, and it can change your life. It did change my life. Put me on a complete different trajectory than I was on, and offered a lot of healing for me, and just wonderful. So I'm the person that walks around today with a tag on my shirt going into a store. I'm the person that my husband told me, do not buy this shirt. Why? Because it's white. I've worn it once, and yes, there's black, I think it's mascara on it. Everything I own has essential oil or something on it. Coffee, usually. Don't drink too much coffee if you're going to communicate with animals. I have to caution you that, because people, you can't drink coffee. Well, I disagree. I can drink coffee, but if I want to, but I just have to watch when and how much I drink of it, because it is a stimulant and it can take you out of your heart and ability to communicate with animals. So you do have to be careful and watch your adrenals and all that. But I find it's actually very connecting to earth for me. I like it. It makes me feel grounded to earth and connected. Is what it is. For some people, it doesn't work. But I'm a klutz too. So I think that we're coming to an end tonight, but I would love to hear anyone's questions about elephants or any other collective, maybe some suggestions for future shows if there's anything you'd like to hear about. Um, you know, please let me know if you want to have your animal spoken to on a future show. I will be doing this. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it every week. I may, and I'd love to hear if people want more of this kind of a thing or what you'd like more of. But go ahead and send me your animal pictures. I will do a few questions for people on this show. I avoid on this show talking about too much about like medical stuff. I'm not a vet and I don't diagnose or treat illness, but I can tune into how an animal's feeling. But I kind of want to avoid on this show getting into that too in depth, because if we're talking about like illnesses and, you know, other than like my dog's like, you know, scratching lately or something, you know, but when we're getting into things that are a little bit more heavy duty, I can tell you what the animal's perception of things are. I advise people always talk to a vet. I don't take the place of a veterinarian. I do prefer the holistic veterinarians. Personally, I think there's a place for Western veterinary medicine, definitely, but I try to, you know, that's me personally. I think that it helps animals just to be more in balance if they go to a holistic vet, but do that first before you seek out any animal communicator. But sometimes you can't just get everything. I've had people come to me, and I've had this happen with my own animals, where the vet just, they don't know. You know, it happens with humans and animals. The doctors, they just don't always, they can't figure out what's going on. And sometimes animal communication can help us better understand, and then also understand if an animal is getting towards end of life. We can talk to them about what they want, what their choices are, what their desires are, their wishes. So, and work on it as a unit. But I don't necessarily want to do that on this show, because it's just kind of heavy duty. Unless you have some particular feeling about that you want it for some reason, we can talk about that. If you want to do it on here to share, to demonstrate with other people. But I don't want to exploit anybody is what I'm trying to say. I'm not about like exploiting people and drama and emotion and all that kind of stuff. So, and I just have a lot of ethics around that. I was raised in HIPAA environment with social work. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for being here. And if you'd like to schedule a session with me personally, you can go to my website, intuitivetouchanimalcare.com. You can book sessions right on there. My scheduling tool is on there. I do private classes and group classes. If you're interested in a group class, let me know. I put them together as people contact me, as there's interest, because I have a lot of private students lately. So, and I also do in-home acupressure and massage within my local area in New Jersey right now. But if you're watching this in like soon, hopefully I'm not going to be in New Jersey. Let's hope and pray. I want to go somewhere with sun. I'm a sun person, so working on it. Thank you so much for being here, everybody, and have a great night. And take care of your little fur kids, and God bless.